The British Empire was at its most powerful in the 1870s. The resource-rich country of South Africa caught the British attention. British influence was still sporadic and insufficient in southern Africa, known for its diverse populations and expansive terrain. This was unacceptable to the imperial strategists in London. Sir Henry Bartol Frere was appointed High Commissioner for Southern Africa by the British in 1877. Frere, however, was sent to take action rather than watch. His goal was to unite the Boer republics, the strong native African kingdoms, and the current British possessions under a single British rule. Frere looked for a reason to launch war since he believed that the autonomous Zulu kingdom posed the greatest threat to this scheme. Frere called for a meeting with Cetshwayo's delegates and organized British troops along the frontier. Frere issued an ultimatum to them in December. King Cetshwayo needed to dissolve his army and cede control to the British. Frere meant for Cetshwayo to reject the stern ultimatum, which called for a drastic transformation in the Zulu way of life. The ultimatum ended on January 11, 1879, and British troops led by Lieutenant General Lord Chelmsford advanced in 3 columns into Zulu territory. Under Lord Chelmsford's leadership, the main center column had about 7,800 soldiers. They set up camp on the opposite bank of the Sihayo's Kraal River, after crossing the Buffalo River into Zulu territory close to Rock's Drift. Sihayo's Kraal was about 8 kilometers from Chelmsford's camp, and he was determined to attack it. This was his plan to punish Sihayo and secure his left flank for the assault on Ulundi, the Zulu capital. On the first day of the invasion, a Natal mounted police scouting unit led by Major John Dartnell was sent out. Along the Bashi Valley, Dartnell's troops made their way to Sihayo's Kraal before making their way back to Chelmsford's camp. Although he was unable to find them, he claimed to have heard a sizable Zulu group singing war songs in the valley. Numerous Zulu cattle were seized by other scouting parties that were dispatched to different areas. At 3:30 a.m. on January 12th, Chelmsford, a force led by Colonel Richard Thomas Glenn, evacuated the camp. Major Wilson Blackhand's 3rd Regiment, Natal Native Contingent troops, and some irregular mounted infantry under Lieutenant Colonel John Seal Russell's command made up this heterogeneous force. The force was joined by Chelmsford. The force advancing to Sihayo's Kraal was joined by 4 companies of the 2nd Battalion, 24th Regiment of Foot. Zulu were seen on the hills above them after marching for about 8 miles. Chelmsford gave the command for the army to get ready to move. No one told her to quit her job. The Zulus mocked the British while Glenn and Chelmsford discussed their strategy, yelling, "Why are you waiting? Do you want to construct kraals? Would you mind coming up?" One of Sihayo's sons who participated in the Natal raid, Makumbika Zulu Kasihayo, led the Zulu resistance. Before going to the kraal to fire the Zulu, Chelmsford and Glenn were adamant about getting it out of the gorge. Menacing the Zulus and cutting off any escape, Chelmsford gave Russell's mounted troops orders to advance southward, where the hill could be climbed, and to circle behind them on the heights. Meanwhile, Hamilton Brown's Natal Native contingent launched a lower ground attack against the Zulus. Other troops from the 24th Regiment of Foot and the 2nd Battalion of the 3rd Regiment of the Natal Native contingent were kept in reserve. Chelmsford had instructed Brown to refrain from firing before the Zulu and to protect any Zulu women or children. Up until they were fired upon by Zulu marksmen, the Natal Native contingents were in a positive mood. These initial bullets caused the British colonial forces, who were hiding on the hill, to hesitate. "By whose orders do you come to the land of the Zulus?" A Zulu shouted at them, challenging them. Lieutenant R. Duncombe, Hamilton Brown's interpreter, responded, "By the orders of the Great White Queen." The Natal Native contingent then retaliated when the Zulus fired once more. Hamilton Brown led one company to attack the Zulus in the rugged terrain, but the Natal Native contingent was held down. A small detachment of Zulus at the bottom of the gorge was successfully driven out by the attack. Reaching the summit of the cliffs, the Zulu warriors withdrew up difficult routes. In the meantime, the Natal contingent's main force remained held down. Captain Henry Harford stepped forward to assist Hamilton Brown when he saw them fail. Harford made some progress and was able to organize a group of Natal Native contingent men. Additionally, the 24th's men approached, encouraging the Natal Native contingent with their weapons equipped with fixed bayonets. The Zulus were gradually driven back by the British force, who eventually arrived at the summit of the hill. The past speaks. Are you listening? Subscribe to Echoes of the Past. Like, share, and keep history alive. Meanwhile, the heights had also been attained by Russell's mounted contingent. Soon after, a group of 60 Zulus on rough terrain began firing at them. Returning fire, they dismounted and moved forward in skirmish order. The Zulus had been pushed out by 10 a.m. under the general leadership of Colonel Henry Degature of the 24th Regiment. a force consisting of 4 companies and a portion of the 2nd Battalion of the 3rd Natal Native Contingent was dispatched to Sihayo's Kraal following the action with the directive to raise it. The 1st Battalion's troops observed this, and as they were higher up, they could see that the kraal was empty, so they made light of their fellow soldiers. Zrania Dacha's soldiers stormed inside the kraal and destroyed it with fire. Beside 4 p.m., the whole force had marched back to its camp beside the Buffalo River. Zrania, the troops marched on to Ulundi. A strong thunderstorm disrupted their march, but they eventually arrived at their goal on January 20th,